Ji, I am Tenzin Gopal, and with me I have Mr. Pronoy Chakraborty. Can you give a little introduction about yourself? Audiences, listeners, my dear friends, yeah, Pronoy is like my क्या बोलूँ यार भाई and कॉलेज से मिला है मतलब फर्स्ट ईयर से ही मिला है हॉस्टल में या सो हाँ प्रणय तो तुम बोल सकते हो कि तुम्हारे बारे में कुछ
So, in English?
Oh fuck, did I just say the entire thing in Hindi?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, that was it. But yeah, I think that much Hindi you should know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah, that's like needed. Even if you are from far south or far east. So everyone knows Hindi.
Alright.
Like, they should know a bit of Hindi.
Okay.
Yeah. It's mixed masala.
Yeah, mixed masala with tea.
It's not
Yeah.
Italian pasta.
Yeah.
It's mixed masala. So
Yeah.
masala, if they understand little bit of masala, I mean salt. So yeah, I did my bachelor's and master's in MSU Baroda in art history, and I completed my master's in 2019 with Tenzin. And for the next 2 years, like first year, it was more of a like I went to Morocco for a Middle Bangla retreat where I started learning Middle Bangla, and then I understood the importance of languages for the project which I am doing, that is on Tantric Buddhism and Mahasiddhas, which I'll talk on more, which I'll elaborate later on. And yeah, then I started studying Sanskrit, Tibetan. Then the pandemic hit. It was a bit tough for a year or so. And then again, now I have applied. Like the last year, I was doing my applications to the US for my PhD, and I got through 3 places, but finally I selected UC Berkeley, and I'll be going in August, and I'll be joining the Department of South and Southeast Asian Studies and working under Professor Alexander von Rospat.
Take a look into his past events. Maybe there are some inspiring story that we all can learn something about how he understands the world and art. Little bit of masala. Shall we put some haldi and
No, I meant the salt. It's only salt we should put.
yes. You remember like when you were here in the first year when we were batchmates and hostel mates. So then you were like already pretty like focused, like you knew what you wanted to like do and stuff like that. So like did something change in the process, or like how has it like been with you, like the experience?
Yeah, like there was one focus that like from the second year onwards, like second year bachelor's, I was working on Tantric Buddhism, documenting museums,
So
study.
tantric Buddhism, sorry, but like tantric, like can you elaborate that a little bit?
Yeah.
I think because then people will know like when
Yeah,
you use
yeah.
the word tantric also.
Yeah, so I was inclined to a lot of like Indic religions since my childhood, and this was because of my grandfather, who I grew up with, and since till the ninth standard he was my closest companion. And instead of superheroes and comics and cartoon, I just kept listening to like stories about saints and like their miracles they performed, and different saints and sages from different parts of India, also Vedic rishis, munis. So these were the stories I grew up with. And when he passed away, like there was a huge void in my gap for a couple of years, because I could not connect that well to my immediate like classmates, and I could not share these things. And then I started listening a lot to Baul music, and what like perplexed me and what drew me like close like into it was like their songs about the subtle human body, or the Dehotattva. So they visualize the human body with different chakras, different streams. So yeah, so that was like a beginning point of like when I started looking into, and I don't like the songs are written in Bengali, but they're so esoteric that there are multiple layers to it. So some words kept like raising questions in my mind. And when in the second year I had like I could research on the Tantric Buddhist phase, that is the 7th to 12th century in Eastern India. So that's like quite again hybrid in its essence, because there's a some amount of like, it's very difficult how much Buddhism in it and how much Tantra is in it, because there was constant interaction with of the Buddhists with the other cults, the Shaivites, the so-called heterodox cult, the
Are they like
Pashupatas, the
sort of
Kapalikas.
bridges? Like,
Yeah, so
in some ways.
yeah, like because Tantric Buddhism and Tantric Shaivism has a lot in common, and later like Tantric Buddhism kind of disappeared from Eastern India.
So
Around-
Tantric is actually from like all this religion that was
Yeah,
found.
so it's like actually a Tantra actually etymologically in Sanskrit can mean a lot of things, but it actually means, the verb means tan, means to stretch. So like one is one which is stretched, that is one meaning, and then some people believe that it is tan coming from tanu, earth, the bodies, the three bodies, and especially in the Buddhist perspective there are the three bodies of the Buddha, Nirmankaya, Sambhogkaya and Dharmakaya. So these are different understandings of Tantra, but basically it means quite a lot of secret esoteric rituals, and at times it had a lot of women practitioners, and it questioned the normal orthodox practices by bringing into the fold a lot of things which were kind of looked down upon and frowned upon, like the use of sexual fluids and bodily excreta in the worship itself.
Like a lot of the time, when they kind of represent sexual content, and they also use, like tantric. Like sometimes it is considered as a taboo, at maybe certain regions of in Asia, like tantric practitioner ko thoda.
Yeah, that was always the case actually, because the practice, like it was very briefly, like from the 8th to 12th century, that we see Tantric Buddhism and Tantric Shaivism flourishing all over India, later getting confined largely to Eastern India, and like especially Tantric Buddhism. And then like there was a spell of migration to Nepal and Tibet, the second spell of migration to Tibet.
Okay.
So
it migrated.
so like a lot of monks came from Tibet, they took like a lot of manuscripts and texts, they went to Tibet. So this was the second spell of migration, like academically it is said. The 7th century, 8th century was first time Buddhism went to Tibet, and it was through the royal patronage mostly for the first time. And but the second time it was more of a monastic kind of propagation.
Okay.
And like we have Naropa's disciples, Milarepa, Marpa, they are translating. So the whole second wave of translation starts. And yeah, and different schools of Tantric Buddhism get established in Tibet. We have initially the Shakyapas, Karmapas, and Kadampas of Atisha. Atisha moving to Tibet. Atisha was a Bengali Buddhist monk. So he went to Tibet in 1042 CE. So that is Atisha going. Then later Songkhapa in the 14th century starts the Gelugpa school. And the earliest school that we had was the Nyingmapas of Padmasambhava, which started in the 8th century. So yeah, so it's quite complex, because many of the times all these schools have different understanding of a text and treatise, and there is conflict, like even with respect to Tantra and the tantric practices, whether it has to be done with a actual physical partner or the partner is to be visualized. That differs from school to school. Like
Okay.
Atisha once said that Tantra is meant for the householders and the lay practitioners, and not the monastic monks and nuns. But again, at times the monks and nuns, like the highest level of monks, after one point they would think that they can practice Tantra and like still be celibate and all that.
Is it cool to like get into this sort of conversation right away? When like, I mean, are you comfortable?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Are you cool?
Very
with,
much,
like,
very much.
Very much.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I don't want to like have you be on pressure. This is
No.
a very chilled, good vibe Sunday evening, right? Pretty much unplanned. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think this is fun. So I don't want you to feel like I'm
Stressed. Yeah.
So when coming to Baroda, like what happened?
Every time I was asked with this, how did you come to Baroda? It's like by train. Like, why did you come to Baroda? And I told him the story ki, like I was like shit tired of like medical preparation in 2012 13. So like my problem was like I was always scoring good marks, so that became a very big problem at the very big like thing, because after 10th, so I was very good in humanities. I scored 97 in like physics, history, geography, but I also scored 95 in science, so that was the problem always. Science कर लो, 95 तो इसमें भी मिला है. So I fell into the trap and I joined Akash, which is like a shithole. So never join Akash. Never join
These are
Akash.
for the Bengali students now, because Akash must be there only.
They this
Yeah.
in Delhi, and it's like a,
Okay.
now the Baijus have taken over.
Oh,
But
Baiju.
never for like studying should be fun. Like for me, it's like an enjoyment कि तुम
Exactly.
ट्रिप कर रहे हो, पढ़ रहे हो, मूवी देख रहे हो, पढ़ रहे हो. पढ़ना वैसे एक ऑर्गेनिक प्रोसेस है. तुम पढ़ते जाते हो, सीखते जाते हो. You can't कि like कि MCQs करना है. And MCQs is like the shittiest thing that can happen. Like you need to explain your thoughts. How can you just tick mark कि 4 में से एक आंसर सही है? It can't be. Like life is not like that. Life is about subjectivity. You have to be subjective. You have to like what you feel you have to write on the paper. And that was like biggest problem in like 12th की chemistry का equation लिखा है 4 options, उसमें से ही होगा. Yeah, that is very difficult. And then like 11th was very bad. And like I was very frustrated. 10 घंटा पढ़ाते थे सैटरडे संडे. उसके पहले तो स्कूल होता था. फिर आई हैड नो टाइम टू पेंट, एंड लाइक आई यूज टू लाइक डूइंग वाटर कलर्स एंड पेंटिंग. तो वो पूरा बंद ही हो गया था. फिर लगा कि यार छोड़ देना है ये, फिर कुछ और करना है. देन लाइक पेंटिंग नहीं, बस घर से था कि कुछ थियोरेटिकल साथ में चाहिए, लाइक विच हैज़ मोर लाइक kind of a security because you are a good student, so do studies. So ऐसे करके art history came up, and then like BHU was then an option, but then finally it was like I went out after my 12th की बड़ौदा में पहला एग्ज़ाम था, फिर शांति निकेतन, and there was also सेंट स्टीफेंस में हिस्ट्री का भी इंटरव्यू देने के लिए निकला था. But I came to Baroda, I kind of liked it. It was far from home. It was like good. कि ऐसे कभी भी मम्मी पापा टपक नहीं सकते थे. मतलब बहुत सोच समझ के आएंगे, एक बार आएगा. It's like you can trip, you can make a world of your own there. It was nice. So then I came. And yeah, then I was a very sober boy. Very sober boy. Very well behaved, shirt tucked in. अभी तो आधा टाइम कपड़ा भी नहीं पहनता यार. Half the time I'm like half naked, semi-nude. So
We all like it.
yeah,
That's a good.
with huge man boobs and no shame, like in front of boys, girls, nothing. There's no shame left in life after joining FineArts. Yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah, I guess.
Now other people are growing up, I am like growing down. So that is the issue. My father is like shit scandalized कि बचपन में you were like so mature and so serious about life. Now what has happened to you? What has happened to you right now? So that's what FineArts makes you.
Wow, it's getting hot in here, and I think it's a good time to give a little break here. We will end our first half session here, and but don't go anywhere else, because we will be continuing again a second session with deeper insights about the subject and the artist himself. And don't forget to subscribe to our other social media pages, and you are always welcome to join the Funk Blue community wherever you are in the world. Remember, if you have a story, Funk Blue platform is the space for you to share your stories with everyone around the world. So keep in touch, and any questions you can always reach me out in my Insta page or through Facebook or my email ID. See you soon in the next session.